Well, look at this day right here. This is a nice day. So, what did I do on a day like this? I sat around and made plans and didn't really do any work, but now it's late and I kind of want to do some work on this thing. I've got like an hour's left of daylight. So, why not? Let's do a project. I think the next thing I need to do to this is rebuild the carburetor. And runs fine, starts fine, the choke works, but it does burn too much fuel. And I'm thinking it just needs a good clean out. I mean, look how dirty that thing is. And it does seem to be leaking from the horn just a little bit. And I think it's pretty solid the way it is. But I mean, it's dirty, it's filthy. So why not make it run as good as possible? So I got a fancy little rebuild kit here and some chem dip. Yeah, replace all the gaskets. See how it runs after that. I'm not going to shine it up because it's pretty enough. It's going to be clean. And this should be about all the tools you need to do this. Rusty screwdriver, rusty other screwdriver, rusty channel locks, and assortment of wrenches. And you got to have some gloves for safety because this stuff is nasty. Alright, so this is a pretty easy job. Rebuilding the carburetor this way, you're basically just replacing gaskets and cleaning everything out, which can make a world of difference in these older vehicles, especially ones that have been sitting around for a while. If your carburetor has been running a little rough, maybe burning a little too extra, dying a lot, stuff like that, this can just doing this can improve it greatly. You can also make them pass DEQ if they need to pass DEQ by doing this and resetting all the idle mixtures. Just you know, this isn't a restoration rebuild. This is just a basic rebuild. Like I said, just gaskets mostly. And cleaning it all up, it can completely change how your vehicle runs. It's just good to do. It can improve gas mileage by, I mean, like a tiny fraction, because you're never going to get good gas mileage out of these. They were not built for that. It smells like gas. Basically, just unhook everything you've seen me unhooking, all the little vacuum tubes, little wires, and there's not much here. Oh yeah, and if you're a forgetful person, then you also might want to label all this stuff so you can remember where everything goes, which I am that forgetful person. But I also forget to label stuff. Like right here on this choke, it's got a little, some kind of a thermal thing for the choke. You want to be careful with that. So whenever you do line fittings, give it a little spray of some kind of lubricant, penetrating, and then always use the proper line-in wrench. Otherwise, you're going to be buying more parts. And this probably isn't enough time. Oh, look at that. It just comes right off. There we go. Now we just got 4 bolts. And the carburetor comes off. Alright, I got the bolts pulled off. That one dropped down in there somewhere. So I'll find that one when I pull the carb out. But it should just lift off now. It's nice and easy. Oh, there we go. Wait, no, there it is. I found it. There's the bolt. Now where's the washer? There's the washer. Okay. Also, make sure you use your magnetic tray. Don't remove the cotter pins or any of the other little screws that were in the tray before, so as when you put this thing back together, you confuse yourself with what's sitting there. Make sure that when you got everything off, just put a little something there to keep things out of the engine. Also, leave your tools that you used to get it off right there, so that when you decide to come back and finish the job in 6 months, they're right where you left them. Alright, so we got the carburetor off in a pan. It's pretty filthy. Look at that crust down there at the bottom. That is all going to get cleaned out. Going to be all new. Also got some carb cleaner, because I do spray off the nastiest parts. Like I'll spray all that stuff off. as well as brush off the nastiest parts, because you can reuse the chemical dip. Got my screwdriver and got the wrenches over there. We'll get those in a minute. Also, this stuff is really flammable, so no smoking. Yeah, let's get this thing apart. Alright, so let's start with taking the horn off, the bell, or whatever this thing is called. So when you're putting the small parts into the basket, try to put them in first. Make sure they get in the basket so you don't lose them. Because you don't want to be digging around in there. So I will basically just brush everything off, get anything that's loose off of it, and give it a little spray. There you go. Now it's ready to go in to the basket, just like that. It's going to be so pretty. If you so choose, you can take this apart. I'm not going to, but look at that. Look at that buildup right there. Can you see that? Look at that. So this part is going to get replaced. So put that. I would suggest you keep all your old gaskets just in case something doesn't line up. There we go. Don't lose any of the small parts. Keep a close eye on everything. There's also a little ball in there. Look at this. See how dirty that is? That can cause the truck to run funny. This thing pops up. Come on, come on. You can do it. There we go. Get that little thing off. Then there is a little spring that comes off. Like I said, be careful with these little parts. You don't want to lose them, because it can be a pain in the butt trying to find new ones. You also want to make sure you take all the old gaskets off. So you can see down in here, there's a little spring. You need to pop it out of the little hole, just nice and gentle. This is your float. It should come right out. And that is your float needle. This should also come in the rebuild kit. Oh, there's that little ball. Some kits will have replacement balls. Some kits don't, so I'm just going to throw it in the cleaner. Alright, so this piece and these two pieces are soft brass. So you want to make sure you have a screwdriver that is proper size for pulling these out. This is just your float needle seat. Got a little gasket. And then these are actually your jets. Oops. Wrong one. Gentle. There we go. Wind's starting to blow and it's getting cold. I feel rain coming. I'm going to take this thingy off. Alright, I had a neighbor come over and borrow a tool. Didn't realize I didn't turn the camera back on. But I took the air fuel mixture things out, cleaned them up. Gonna take the choke off. Should be fairly simple. It's another gasket. So this is where it can get confusing. All these little pieces right here. And but don't let it scare you too much. It's a little C-clip right here. You got to pop that off. And then over here, can you see that right there? Slide that down. There, that should pop out. It's got this little burr on it. Got to get it through that little hole. So here's another little gasket. Also, this is a little thermal valve thingy. Well, I do believe this thing has a helicoil in it. Little C-clip right there, just pop that one off. You need to get in there with a delicate tool. And this little thing can come off. Then this little plastic piece can slide off. Then we have this little plastic piece right here. Take that screw out. This will also be another clean by hand piece because there's a little diaphragm in there. Still feels good. Be very gentle with this. Of course, we're going to put a new fill filter on it. So this one's got to go. So this little clip right here, got to bend that up gently, push the rod down. There we go. If I had a ratchet on me, this would be done already. Oh! Nicely corroded. Oh. Oh, it ripped. Look at that crud in there. Look at that. Wow. Gotta take those off. Take this off and this whole thing slides out. Man, that is a lot of sediment down in there. I'm kind of surprised it was still running. Oh yeah, don't forget about this little cam. This thing goes right in the middle, right there. I think I've got everything now, so I'm just gonna brush a lot of this stuff off. I'll put it in the can. Alright, so got all the tools put up. All the little parts are in this one. Got to keep this soaking overnight in a nice, clean, dry, safe area. And this looks good to me. So I got the main body in there because it won't fit in the can. So got this old cooking pot. Just use it for stuff like this. I'm going to cover it with something to keep it from evaporating. Then all the stuff I need to clean by hand, but I'll do that tomorrow as I'm putting it together. Going to let this soak overnight. And we're back. And this thing's been sitting overnight. Played with it a little bit. And so now there's still some stuff on it. But I've got my little scrubby. I've got an air hose, blower gun machining thing. Got my air compressor and carb cleaner. So now the process is just going through, blowing all this stuff off, scrubbing anything that might still be stuck on there. You want to make sure that you wear good safety glasses for this, because using this blow gun to blow all this little shit out of here, if you get that in your eye, it's definitely not going to feel good. Can cause some serious problems. So I'm going to get this all cleaned up and just scrubbed up as much as possible. And look how clean that is already, man. That looks pretty damn good. Oh, this is going to be great. Anyway, I'm going to get this cleaned up and we'll pick up right after that. Also, one thing you want to do is all your parts that are coming out of this stuff, want to kind of get this stuff on it, clean it up real good, because that stuff does leave a little bit of residue. So get in there, and that thing, get in all the little holes, all the little channels and stuff. Make sure you get this nice and clean. Well, here we go. I got everything cleaned up. At this point, it looks a little daunting to put this back together, but don't let this stuff scare you. You know, there's tons of books, there's tons of pictures online. In fact, I got my computer here just to help me with those pictures and references. It's really not that big of a deal. It's just time consuming. It's pretty easy. It's just time. That's it. Notice I'm not on the tailgate. There's a possibility that it will be raining, so I'm actually under cover right now, which is weird. I'm not used to working on an actual table with the cover. I even got a chair to sit in. But yeah, let's get this thing back together. And let's see which way does this go? Is it, wait, no, this? Is it this way? No, is it this way? Is it, I gotta look at a picture. Look at that, new design power valve. Ooh. Don't forget about this little cam. Alright, so these things are next. These holes go towards the top. Well, I guess they're not holes. They're little divots that come out on the bottom. Then you have this little slant Slant goes on this side, closest to this thing. Divots go on this side. Alright, now this thing right here, I didn't film it, but basically that little piece of rubber goes right through the hole right in the middle there, and you kind of have to pull on this real nice and gentle. And you're just trying to get that little bulb on the little rubber to just pop through the body. You got to be really gentle because you can pull too hard and just rip this thing apart. But I did a pretty good job, pretty happy with myself. So now I'm putting this thing on. Simply put that in there. The long lever goes towards the side of the body over here with all this fidgety stuff. Spring goes in a little valley that's down in the hole, and then the other side just lines up with that button. Because we got to put this piece back on, and this goes like this. No, this goes like this. Two of these screws right here are slightly longer than the other ones because they got to go through this extra little piece of metal. Alright, then we just got to get this little thing back on. There. Into here. And you can use all these different holes for different adjustments. But I remember this little thingy. The kit came with a new shiny one. Right there, look at that. Ooh. And see how it has two sides? Put it on there like that. Hold it with your fingers. Get everything lined up. Then just push it over the rod. Just like so. Alright, let's see. Gotta get this thing back on. Alright, time to put the choke on. Then once the choke's on, we'll do the connection rod from this to the chokey thing, and then this one to the chokey thing. And so basically, there's a gasket that goes between here and here. This little guy right here. And then it's just the 3 bolts that hold it on. So I do like to take the bolt that goes to that piece, put it in there, throw that little gasket on, and you got to line up this little tang right there with that right there. Basically get it right on there. Another one right there. Well, so I got the cams in there, the little links. So this link is kind of poking out. It goes from that little tab into here. Then this link goes from the fast idle cam right there down to there. And everything's looking good so far. Oh, wrong side. Power valve time. The funky little gasket. Just put that on there. Should thread down. And it just goes right into the body. Make sure the gasket doesn't cover that hole right there. And cover. Looks so nice. Then we have our air fuel mixtures, needles. Make sure the spring is on there. Stick them in the hole. Finger tighten them down until they bottom out, and then adjust them while the truck is running or car is running. Alright, then jets just go down into the little holes. You want to be careful with these because they are soft. There we go. Just nice and gentle. Let's do the float needle. And just take the little spring. Clip it right in there. Brand new float needle catcher thingy. And don't forget the float needle splash guard. It goes like that. Down in there. Remember, this is a soft metal, so use a big enough screwdriver. Do nice and gentle. Just nice and gentle. They gave me a new spring for the float, so I'm going to put that on. Right, new spring. Clips right into the little slots there. It goes right in there. simple as that, man. How easy is this? Then take your spring. I put it on upside down, didn't I? Alright, so then take your float back out and put it back on the correct way. Now it should work. Alright, get it out of the way. Put the needle down in the hole. Line it up. Get the little spring. Pop it. So there's a little ridge in your needle seat thing, and that spring needs to go down in there. Just pop it. Just should why isn't it popping? There we go. And that just holds it in place. Pretty sure that's going to need to be adjusted. The only way to adjust the needle is to bend this little tab right there so the float can go up a little bit, and that just doesn't seem like enough. I'm going to bend it up just a little. Now, that's a little better. This gasket, you need your little tiny ball right there in that hole. You got your little rod, goes right on top of the ball. And remember this part, got to get these two dangly things down in the holes. Push it nice and gentle, don't bind anything up. It has this spring, and then this spring retainer clip. So get that spring compressed. Take your little spring retainer clip, push it in there, boom. Make sure it's all nice and straight. And then this gets a new gasket. Put that in there, kind of wobble it around to get that rod to go into the middle of it. Tighten it down. So basically, choke's pretty simple. It's this little guy. Make sure the holes line up. Make sure that goes into the little slot there. It's in the forks. Get it down in there. Alright, then when putting this little rod back on, and you have to C-clip this little hole right there. Alright, got it on there. And that little plastic piece just goes right there. And we can't forget about the little heat shieldy thing. I forgot where this goes. Let's go right. Oh, where's this thing go? So now we're putting the horn on. So basically, just make sure the gasket fits. It actually goes the other way, just like that. You put it down on the carburetor. That hole is on that side over there, away from the base of the float. Finagle the little rod into this hole. Make sure the plastic piece is on top, just like that. Kind of have to finagle that in. Watch this. Get that down in there. Make sure that plastic piece is on top. Line up the holes. There's 6 screws that hold the horn down. I'm only going to tighten like 2 of the screws and just run the others in just a little bit, because I'll probably take this off to adjust the float when it's on the truck and running. Then we got this little guy. Got to put this little guy on. A little screw. There we go. I think it's done. Alright, so to adjust the choke, so what you want to do is open the throttle just a little bit, not all the way, until this can move freely, right? See how loose that is? Kind of stays open a little bit. So you just want to adjust this to where it has some tension and closes. Ideally, you want it closed all the way. That feels pretty good. Anyway, there we go. I think it's done. Oh, I forgot one thing. Alright, now it's just got to go on the truck. Guess first things first. It says front up. Alright. Carb time. Just goes right back into place. Simple as that. All right, well, I got everything hooked up. I got the springs back on it. Got the throttle cable back on it. It's actually missing a spring that goes from there to there. Got the fuel line hooked up. And of course, it's raining. I primed it by dumping some fuel down there. I turned the screws out, air fuel mixture screws, right there, out. 1.5 turns, the other one, you can see it right there. I am running the fuel out of a tank right now because I think the tanks in the truck itself are dirty, and I need to change those, or not change them, but clean them out, which I'm not going to do right now, but I do want to be able to run this and drive this at least a short distance, just to the store and back. And it's just running off the stock fuel pump down there. You can see the hookup. I didn't want to put the electric one on it. I want it to run as normal as it can. So I think we're ready to start it up and hear it run. Alright, make sure it's in neutral. Put the key in the ignition. What's going on? Yeah, now it's just adjusting. Gonna adjust the choke. Keep fiddling with the air fuel mixture. Maybe adjust the idle up a little bit, but not too much. I mean, I want this to run as low as possible. So basically now I'm just gonna fiddle with the adjustments, which is real simple on these. I mean, you have the air fuel mixtures, idle adjustment right there, the fast cam idle adjustment, which is back there. You have the choke. Basically, it's just messing with that stuff until I figure out. I'm frustrated enough to take it to my actual mechanic friend and have him get it running right for me. But yeah, I think we got a winner here. Anyway, that's the basic way you rebuild a carburetor. I mean, basic. But if you like these videos, you give a like and give a subscribe. I've got a link in the description for PayPal. So if you would like to donate to the betterment of this channel, give me a couple bucks. I'll put it right into this thing, or right into one of my other cars. Well, she's running. The response is a heck of a lot better than it was. That's some insane response right there. But I don't know, I still need to do some adjusting. And it feels better already. We'll see how it goes over the next couple days. Wow. Can't wait. Yeah, maybe I should clean this stuff out before I went to took the first drive. It's such a good sound.